was here in the Charminster area of Bournemouth that a Korean student, Yong Ok Shin, known as Oki, was stabbed. This man, Omar Benguit, was convicted of her murder.
He didn't do it. I know he didn't do it.
This guy was out of control. He's so capable of this. This is going to be tough. I've arranged to meet Omar's family. I've had a look through the papers, and I think that there's a reason he's behind bars. I think he could be guilty. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi,
Thanks
nice
for
to
having
see
me
you
around.
again. Hi, Bash.
Hello.
Hello.
Bash, I'm Bronagh. How are you?
It's Bronagh.
Hi.
See you, okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Sit here.
Okay, yes, please, yeah, thank you.
How you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Slightly nervous. Bash and Amy's brother is in prison for stabbing a young woman to death in an unprovoked attack.
Deport someone.
Omar Benguit was convicted after a number of drug addicts testified against him. How did you feel, Bash, the day that they sentenced him?
I collapsed.
Don't. Come on. Come on.
We feel like he was fed to the wolves. That's what we feel. He was fed to the wolves. He had no chance, did he? He was fed to the wolves. Now he's fighting for his life.
This is not an easy thing for me to say. It's quite difficult. But I do believe that Omar could have committed this murder.
Not to an innocent girl.
Not to an innocent girl.
He's not capable of just randomly going behind a female and stabbing and just running away.
Bash, he wasn't thinking like you. He was a heroin addict. Violent. Off his head, if the witnesses are to be believed.
Police chose those witnesses.
But you're expecting me to accept that all of these witnesses materially stood in front of a court, a jury, and told lies about Omar?
Yes. Yes, because they are not the norm. They're all addicts.
You can't choose your witnesses. My concern here is that Omar is using the lack of forensic evidence to say that he's not guilty, when witness after witness is putting him there on the night. I need to talk to Omar. I need to hear the words from his mouth that he's not guilty of this. Mm-hmm. Can we set up a call with him?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll be passing you over to say hello.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Hello, Omar.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks for having some time to talk to me. I've been looking into your case, and I have to say, from where I'm standing now, I'm struggling to believe that you didn't do this, okay? Why should I believe that you didn't do this, Omar?
If I would have admitted it now, yeah, right? I would have 4 years left, yeah? I'd rather die in jail. I'd rather be carried in a box saying I didn't do it than say I did do it and go home today. Do you understand?
Is it fair to say that your life was out of control back then?
It was, yeah, it was.
You had threatened someone with a syringe, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And Omar, you had stabbed someone, you had previous knife offences.
Yeah, one.
So, to me, take that along with the fact that a judge once said to you, I think that you're capable of killing someone.
At the end of the day, that was a pub brawl. I got beaten up myself, do you know what I mean? I retaliated, I shouldn't have done, I went a bit OTT. Do you understand? And I feel guilty for that.
That man had plates put in his head.
It did. And believe me, I was a kid myself when it happened. And I regret every day of it.
Is it possible, Omar, that you did it and you just can't remember?
No, I'm not a murderer. I didn't do it.
I mean, how do you feel when you look back at your life and you see how it played out now? You've had a long time to think about it.
Disgusting. You just can't.
Are you alright?
I didn't do it. Listen, I didn't do it.
Okay, right. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll look at this, right? And I'll tell you one of the reasons I'm going to look at this is because I'm standing looking at your sister and she firmly believes that you're not guilty of this. There's not a doubt in her mind.
I didn't do it. And that's what I'm saying to the day I die.
Okay.
Hi, Han.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Okay.
How you feeling?
Yeah, but,
Sorry.
that's right.
Horrible friend. Have you been crying?
Yeah.
Oh, baby, don't.
So I'm gonna go, alright?
Oh, they're taking all day. Okay, all right, honey. Love you. Be
All
strong,
right.
be strong, be strong. Love
I am,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, honey. Love you. Bye, bye. I just wanted to put my hands in the phone and just give him a hug. Well, you see the state of me now. Mum is like this every single day. She cries every day. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
You can't help feeling for Amy. You know, you'd have to be heartless not to feel some heartbreak for her. I just feel... I'm very conflicted because he just sounds like a kid. He sounds like a child. But then your head tells you that any child is also capable of the most horrendous crimes. One thing is certain, Amy deserves answers. There is one big question about this case that needs interrogating. According to BB, the main prosecution witness, 2 men helped Omar cover up the murder that night. BB also claimed all 3 men raped her just hours later. Omar's 2 accomplices were as central to BB's story as he was. And yet neither was convicted of any crime. One was never even charged. The other went on trial with Omar but walked free. I want to understand how that could have happened. Nick?
Yeah.
Nick, Bronagh,
Oh, yeah.
how you doing?
Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet
meeting
you.
me.
All right.
Should we grab a coffee?
Yeah, come on.
Come on. Nick Gabadamosi was acquitted in court of raping BB and of being an accessory to Oakey's murder. He now lives in South London. How did you end up living in Brixton?
Well, this time round, I got into trouble when I went to prison. This is one of the move-on places from there.
What were you in prison for?
Robbery, possession of firearm.
So is this still a working... Nick's been in prison several times. Like Omar, he was a crack and heroin addict living in Bournemouth at the time of Oakey's murder. So how did you end up in Bournemouth?
Well, I was doing the sentence for another robbery. And then whilst I was on that sentence, my then wife and my son had moved to Bournemouth. And I was there for quite a while. And then this happened. You know, and I got fitted up for this.
But looking at your track record, you're an obvious suspect, aren't you?
No, not an obvious suspect. I'm a thief. I'm not a rapist. I'm not a murderer. Well,
Because I want to believe you, but I have to ask you these questions because from what you tell me, I need to know the man sitting in front of me is doing this for the right reasons.
listen, there are 3 things I want from this.
Yeah.
I want to get that poor cunt Omar out of jail. I want total public vindication for myself. And I want the police to suffer for what they did. Sorry, it just makes me so fucking angry. I did the robberies, I sold the drugs, I had the fights, I did all of those things, but I didn't do this.
And is it because of the nature of the crime that you're accused of? Because it's rape, isn't it?
Yeah. I could never do that. It's disgusting. I love my mum, I love my sisters, my nieces, my great nieces. I could never do that to a woman. Ever. It's disgusting.
You all right?
You know, it's not Buckingham Palace, but, you know, it serves a purpose.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, just that.
What was it that led to your acquittal?
Well, overall, the evidence, there was no forensic evidence, no CCTV evidence that, you know, that went against me. The only CCTV evidence that came was in my favour. This BB's story, none of it was credible. The so-called witnesses, the junkies, all contradicted themselves and each other. Oh, listen, I can't tell you, emphasise enough how fabricated this all was.
When you were sitting in that court, did you ever think, I'm going down for
Yeah,
this?
they're going to steal my life. That's all, they're going to steal my life. Listen, I'm ashamed of it. But there were 2 occasions I found myself on a chair with sheets around my neck. And the only reason I couldn't do it, I couldn't get my boy's face and my sister's faces out of my mind. So I had to get down. So if you're singing left, you should be able to park up.
I meet Nick in Bournemouth so he can show me why he believes BB's evidence was completely made up.
Sure, there was a car park for the pub. Yeah, there is still here.
Is that a car park?
Right, where I'm taking you now is a pub called the Richmond Arms.
BB claimed she was in this pub with Omar and Nick about a week before the murder, and that they were discussing women. The prosecution used this conversation to establish a sexual motive for Oakie's murder.
BB alleges that me, Omar, and a couple of other people and her were supposed to have been buying drinks at the bar, been playing pool, and where Omar was supposed to have been, started this lewd conversation about lusting after Korean girls.
And that's where he's supposed to say that he fancied Korean
Yeah,
women.
and supposed to have been talking lewdly about it, but it was just, all that was them painting a picture, you know, to show why Omar went and did that. You can see there are CCTV cameras dotted all about the place. There were about 8 that were clearly visible, and yet there is not one single image of any of us on that CCTV.
And so the cops came here looking for the CCTV footage to prove BB's story.
And there was nothing.
Nothing.
How can you be playing pool and buying drinks at the bar and not be caught on any of the cameras?
A CCTV expert told the court it was possible the cameras missed this encounter because of how they were set up. But Nick's lawyers found other footage that undermined the most important part of BB's story, her account of the night Oakie was killed.
The night that murder happened, earlier on, I'd been arrested for a poxy little possession charge. And they let me out of the station at 20 to 12. So I walked from the police station and got my car. Then I went home. And there's proof of that because I was caught on a speed camera on Turbury Park Avenue, which is 2 minutes from where I was living. Then, on top of that, this phone box. There were CCTV images from a council camera or from this wine bar showing my car here at about 3:15. Someone got out of my car. I can't even remember who it was, but someone got out of my car and come and used this phone box. Right, look. There you go. Have a look at that.
Right. And you can't remember who that person is?
I can't remember. Listen, my lifestyle at that time was really chaotic. And they were asking me to remember something that happened 6 weeks ago, when at the time I was struggled for 6 hours.
So they get your car, right?
Yeah.
But it could have been somebody else driving your car?
No one drive my car. No one can drive my car. Nobody.
So the time here, it's 3:15, 12th of July.
Exactly.
And that's after the murder when you should have been in the car with BB.
Exactly. You know, I can't be doing all that and be here. BB's story is complete bullshit. So it can't be trusted against Omar either. How can it be trusted? And even that, how can the court and the jury find me not guilty and yet be unsure about him? When it's quite obvious that they were all fucking lying.
Two juries seemed to have doubts about BB's account. Nick was cleared of being an accessory to murder, and both he and Omar were acquitted of raping BB. BB's evidence only resulted in a conviction after Omar went on trial for a third time on a single charge of murder. Nick never testified at this trial. I am having serious concerns about the main prosecution witness's story. It just doesn't stack up. It's not just the CCTV footage that could have put Nick somewhere else. It's the fact that we're being asked to believe that those men spent a considerable amount of time in that car. They carried out a gang rape and they just carried out a murder. And there's not one piece of forensic evidence linking them to the car. They should have been able to find something. A cigarette butt, a trace of blood, a hair fibre. Nothing. I just find that incredibly hard to believe.
Bronagh.
Hi, pleased to meet you. Hi.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to Portsmouth.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us down.
Lovely weather.
Marika teaches criminology at the University of Portsmouth. She's helping Amy with a new appeal against Omar's conviction.
I really want people to find out about this case because I want people to see that this is how the system can get it wrong, and can get it so wrong that somebody sits in prison after 15 years for something that there is not a shred of credible evidence to suggest that they actually did the crime.
Marika and her students run a unit at the university that investigates potential miscarriages of justice. Having spoken to Nick, it raised serious questions about the case to me and about BB.
Without her, the police wouldn't have had a case. There wouldn't have been anything that they could have gone on. But she has given at least 2 different versions of where the murder even took place. How is this woman a reliable witness?
BB gave the police many different accounts of the murder, and the team have unpicked her changing statements.
One of the main inconsistencies is her description of the offender, which began as a white male, but then later changed to a darker black male, which then eventually became a very clear description of Omar. Not only does she initially start with a white man, but she names 3 completely different people. Omar Hussein, Mike Bigg, and Darius.
And that changes to who?
Omar Benguit, Nicholas Gbadamosi, and Delroy Woolry.
First statement that she gives, she says that she wasn't even driving the car, but then in her other statements, she was driving and the 3 men get into the car, but in the first statement, she said she was never the driver.
Does she give any excuse for why she was getting mixed up?
She said, sorry, didn't want the police to think I knew everything about it.
She said, but she did that because she was frightened for her life and her daughter's.
What else does she talk about?
She starts off saying she was driving one car, but then she changed her mind, saying that she was driving a different car.
BB describes this dramatic car chase. I think the police would have remembered and recorded such an incident, and we found absolutely no record of that anywhere.
But the big problem with this is that all of this evidence has been to the jury, and they convicted Omar on it. They believed her.
That jury maybe found her reliable, but previous juries haven't.
Remarkably, after Omar was convicted, BB went on national TV to change her story yet again.
My first guest witnessed the murder of a 26-year-old Korean student.
For legal reasons, we're still not identifying her.
This is An extraordinary story.
The story that she presents on the Jeremy Kyle show is quite different to the one that she had told at trial. During the trials, she has never said that she witnessed the murder, but on Jeremy Kyle's show, she says that she saw Omar plunge the knife into Oki.
Why would she not have said that at the trial?
Because she's an unreliable witness and it wasn't true.
Benguit's legal team said a key prosecution witness changed her account.
Now the judges here will have
BB's change of story formed part of an appeal against Omar's conviction. But the judges ruled it didn't undermine BB's account at the trial. They said the jury heard accusations that BB was a liar and had fully explored her credibility. Omar's conviction was upheld. Yet Marika says new evidence has since emerged that could help Omar with a fresh appeal.
Omar had an alibi. This is a man that we have located who has come forward and said he didn't do this, and I know this because I was with him on the night of the murder.
And you tracked him down?
Yes.
Where is he?
He's in Glasgow. He feels awful that Omar is still in prison.
I know for a fact that guy's not done that. Omar was with me that night.